I'm guilty of this. I hate letting people go. Like, it's to me, I'm like, I'll sometimes procrastinate and delay the situation, especially yearsy guys. Still like, oh no, I'll give him another chance. I'll give her another chance. I know she can come good. 99% of the time, they never come good. If someone's not performing, you've got to make a decision and cut them loose, because you're doing them an injustice by keeping them in a position they're not suited to. And to me, you're just taking money out of my wallet. So if you're coming to a business or it's your own business, you've got to make tough decisions quickly. So assess the situation, put together basically an Excel doc of, okay, strengths, weaknesses, who's amazing, who's not amazing, what they're doing right, what they're doing wrong, and go, this is what I need to do to fix it, and this is who I need to cut and keep. You can do that in a day or two, but assess the situation over a few weeks and then make the cuts. We were looking at buying it was a tech company, had about 120 people, burning cash. And it's on the market, and I came in, I'm like, to come in, I would need to cut at least half the team. I'm like, I don't really want to do that. Like, it's just something I don't enjoy doing it. I don't really want to do it. The business, not even the people, the business is a mess. Like, financials are a mess. The tech stack is a mess. They've got decent revenue, but it's a mess. And I'm like, do I have the energy to do this? And I'm like, no, I don't. But if you've got the energy to do it, it could be a great business, but it's a year-long process. Elon has the energy to come in and cut people, but remember, it's not him. He has a huge team behind him that's doing it for him. He just goes, this is what we need to do, make it happen. I haven't got a huge team to do that for me, so I have to come in and do it myself. I'm like, I don't want to do it.
Interview after interview. Yeah.
But the moral of the story is, if you see a problem, jump on it, but be respectful when you do it.
Yeah.
Now, woke society, look, this is an interesting one. I didn't see the issue with wokeness up until recently, and now I'm like, come on, guys, sometimes you've got to make tough decisions, and they have to be done.
Yeah.
But it's like, people are like, oh, it's going to hurt their feelings. I'm like, yeah, but what about my feelings? I'm a business. I've got a business to run, and I've got decisions to be made. And if I don't make these tough decisions, the whole business can go under. My theory is, if you're respectful to people at work, I need to let people go. And if someone's not suitable, I'm like, hey, you're not suitable, and this is the reason why. So wokeness is an issue, and it's becoming a bigger issue. So it's like, people go, this is a controversial subject, women should be paid the same as men in sport. And my theory is, if a female sport generates the same amount of revenue as a men's sport, absolutely they should be paid the same. But comparing the NBA male players to the women, it's a completely different beast. The men generate a lot more revenue, so how can you pay the women the same? It's not possible. So, but I know my office, for example, in the business environment, if a woman does the same job as a man, 100% pay the same. If they generate the same amount of revenue, pay the same. For me, it's not based on gender or race. It's like the best person for that job deserves to be paid what they deserve.
Yeah.
So most of my managers are female. And to be honest, because I find they're better at it and they're more organised.
Yeah,
I'll be honest with you.
100%.
Yeah. So for me, it's the best person for the job. But when it comes to wokeness in, say, sport and etc., that's a whole different beast. And it's a whole
it is, yeah. It's a controversial topic.
It is a controversial topic.
It's an interesting one. I kind of think, I look at it in a bit of a different lens.
This is good. No, this is the debate.
Yeah, I think it's more of an investment. I think, we're not at the stage. It's like a startup, right? They're a startup, and they're at the phase where they need to be invested in. And sometimes you got to pay overs, to be able to push that forward. If that's something that, if that's a venture that, a society wants to invest in, then sometimes you do have to pay overs to get there. Now, within there's parameters.
But the question is, who's going to pay it? Because remember, this
100%.
This is a private entity.
Yeah, 100%.
It's not government owned. So you're expecting the owners of that company to pay more. I'm like, is going to come out of your back pocket.
Yeah, no, 100%. There's parameters there. Like
Yeah.
when I say overs, it's like 10% above what they might be generating compared to that kind of even layer in a sense.
If it's government funded, I understand, but as a business owner, I'm like, it's my job to make a profit for my company. So there's two sides to this.
Yeah. That's for me. That's the woke. Like that's the misunderstanding. You know, where it's like wokeism is there's no consequence to the decision. You know, there's no. You know, oh, we can just keep everybody and everything will just sail on very well.
Yeah.
Like there's a consequence of keeping people on, which is, you know, with Elon going into Twitter, there's a consequence for him coming in and saying, we're going to try keep everyone on board. We're going to do this. The company was like losing like 2 million a month or something, you know, or even more.
If not more, yeah.
If not more, could have been 4.
It's why I'm like, he had to make the cuts. He's a business. But people who, we've got someone in our business overseas that wants to be called they and them. I said, man, I don't care what you want to call yourself, and we're happy to oblige. It's your prerogative in life. But I just want the best person for the job. Black, white, yellow, tall, short, fat, skinny, I don't care. Best person for the job gets the job. And if I'm not the best person for my job, then replace me with someone. So, man, it's always, I don't get into the politics of things. I'm like, I don't care about it. I just want to do good work and have good people around me. That's all it is.
And sometimes you have to let good people go as well, just because that's where your company's at. You know, like I'm sure there was some people that Elon had to let go. Now he definitely kept his best people, right? But there would have been, you know, good people that he would have had to let go, just because of the structure that was needed to obviously take it forward.
Yeah,
what do you think on that?
Look, I've let good people go before. They were good at what they did, but they weren't the right culture fit anymore.
Yeah, okay.
So they were great at what they did. I'm like, man, I know you're great, but I'm like, you're pissing a lot of people off. I'm like, I'm trying to help you here, so I just need you to tone it down a bit. And we had one person a couple of years ago when he was amazing at his job. He always smashed his sales targets, but he would just say the most inappropriate things. And I'm like, you just can't say that. And like, there's going to be HR issues. I'm like, I can't protect you because what you're doing is wrong.
Yeah.
And we had to let him go. So to me, there's two parts. Be great at your craft, but be a great culture fit within the business where you want to help people and they want to help you.
Yeah.
If you can nail both of them, you're a rock star.
And what about talent during this time? So obviously
it's a lot better now.
Yeah, we're talking about like the wrecking ball that's coming.
Yeah.
Is talent an opportunity for startups, you know, and companies that can bring on and can hire during this time?
It's almost a complete 180 compared to 12 months ago. So we have about 76 open roles in Melbourne at the moment, only because of growth. And 12 months ago, trying to get some decent CVs through the door, Matt, like it was like pulling teeth out because there was so many opportunities out there. And I was spending my nights on LinkedIn outreaching people, trying to get them into the company. Now we post a job ad, we're getting some amazing candidates coming through, like amazing candidates, because all these tech companies have let a lot of people go.
Yeah, it's true. Well, we're experiencing the same thing.
It's crazy,
right now.
and the borders are open. There's people coming through from the UK, Ireland. Like I'll be honest with you, as a business owner, it's brilliant for me. 12 months ago, it was painful. Now I'm like, thank you very much. This is great, because I want to hire the best possible people in my company. And 12 months ago, we had someone, people go, I'm getting paid $100,000. I want $150,000 now. I'm like, huh? What?
Yeah.
What are you talking about? This company's offered me 150. You either match it or I'm walking. And 12 months ago, I would have considered it just to keep them. Now I'm like, man, I'll be honest with you, walk. I can hire 10 more people.
Yeah.
So you haven't got me handcuffed anymore. So, and a lot of business owners I know, they were handcuffed. Like, what do I do? I've got to pay these people a lot more money. Otherwise, I'm going to lose them. I'm like, now you don't have to. So, from a downturn, there's also pros for some people. And I said to you earlier, what goes up must come down. And this had to happen. The interest rates rising had to happen because inflation was out of control. So, there's always going to be a correction. But in probably 2 or 3 years from now, it's going to be a gravy train again. So, but in the next 2 or 3 years, just manage your cash flow correctly.
Yeah. So, final verdict then for founders, people in a startup right now. What's the final word from you? Obviously, we've had a good a conversation about it all, but what's the drive home point right now that we can finish with?
If you don't have a product or service that's in demand, like it's a nice to have, but it's not, I don't fucking need it, you're in a bit of trouble. Like it's a nice to have product right now, it's going to be very hard to sell. So you need to make sure your product is, no, they need it, and this is the reason why. So maybe relook at your value proposition and relook at your sales hooks and manage your cash flow and your expenses. If your staff aren't at capacity, or at least 90% capacity, find out why, and either bring them to capacity in terms of their workload, or make some tough decisions. Like with what I sell, people need my service, whether it's marketing for their business, because if they're not found, they can't generate business for themselves. So what I have, you bloody need. And with Removify, which is another business we have, if they get a bad online reputation, it completely damages their business. So what I have, you need. So I like businesses that, no, you need what I have, because in tough times, we're still going to survive.
And that's because those nice to haves will always be the first ones cut from someone's wallet.
Correct. There was someone pitching me the other day, a social listening business.
A what?
Social listening business. So listening for their brand name in social media. Yeah. it's a nice to have.
Sounds cool, but
it was like they were quoting $20,000. I'm like, man, it's not I don't really need it. It's not going to change my game. Just because someone's mentioned my brand name doesn't mean it's going to damage my business. And I said to the guy, how many have you sold in the past 3 months? I said, be honest with me. He goes, none. And I said, what are you getting paid salary-wise? I asked very personal questions.
Yeah.
He didn't have to tell me. I said, what are you getting paid? He goes, I'm on $150,000 base. I said, how long can you go without having to do sales? He goes, the pressure's coming from the top dogs. It's a large company, 7,000 staff. Remember, if you're not delivering an outcome, what's going to happen? Eventually, you're going to get cut. And I said, look, you've got to get more aggressive with your selling and really understand what your value proposition is, because what you sold me was like, I don't really need it, man. So I think he goes, shit, I'm in trouble here. I wasn't trying to put pressure on him. I was just trying to make him realize that he needs to be better at his craft and really sell the need better.